guys, and welcome to Polestar HQ here in Torslanda, right outside of Gothenburg in Sweden. So recently I made quite a few videos complaining very loudly about the advanced driver assistance systems in the Polestar 4. So much that Polestar have actually seen my videos, and instead of sweeping the problems under the rug or calling me out, calling me an idiot, or just ignoring the issues with their cars, they've actually invited me to their HQ to ride with them in a Polestar 4 that is going to have the next software over-the-air update that hopefully will come early next year. They've said they have improved a lot of the functionality and are still working very actively to make this product and the ADAS better, which I think is awesome. Inviting me, showing you guys and the world, the public, that these guys aren't afraid and they're gonna do what it takes to make their products good. So guys, let's go in, meet a few people and see what's what. Hello Ola, nice seeing you again.
Great to have you here.
Yeah.
Welcome.
I think we first met at eCar Expo looking at the Polestar 4 earlier this year.
Yeah, beginning of year.
And you thought I was so critical to your product that why not invite me here and like have a go at me?
It's always good to have a chat together.
No, I think what I really love about your company is that you're so transparent, right? It's so Scandinavian. Your work philosophy and everybody I meet here is like, okay, you made a product you have challenges with, and then instead of like hiding under like, no, you're like, okay, invite us here and then we're going to show you how we are working to improve our product. Yeah. Which I think like is the best way. So afterwards, me and you and Johannes, we're going out for a drive, and then you're going to show me these improvements, and I can't wait. I'm hoping that things have been better with ADAS. So we're going to see that later on, guys.
And as you say, we work continuously with improvements. Yeah. You can see the Polestar 2. It's been on the road for quite some time now, and we are like in the beginning, like every month, now every quarter, we improve it. So we continue to improve the cars long after the customer have got them. A number of steps where we will sometimes add functionality, sometimes we will change functionality, sometimes we will improve functionality. So we don't say now it's launched, it's ready, we'll leave it and go for next one. So we continue to work with it through months and months and years to come.
Okay, we are now in a Polestar 4 and with me I have
Johannes, yes, that's correct.
And you are project lead at ADAS for the Polestar 4.
Yes.
So you want to talk about what we're doing in this car specifically? Because this is a test vehicle. I'm not allowed to drive this, right?
Yeah,
because this requires a special license or permission.
So what we're going to do today is we're going to drive the upcoming OTA for ADAS.
Okay.
So there might be other OTAs in between, but this is the latest ADAS changes that will be released to the customers. And then internally we already work on the next OTA after that, but this is the latest frozen ADAS content that we will provide to customers.
So the car I recently drove, which my viewers may be familiar with, is what is officially called the 4.1.10. Since then there has been a .11 with added functionality, more for the Korean market and changing brake blending, right? Between physical brakes and brake regen. And this is your internal, it was called OTA 6, you're calling this internally?
Yes.
But we don't know if this will be like the .12 or .13.
Correct. Because
you don't know when it's finished. You're working on it actively now, and you also have to test and troubleshoot, right? Then.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm excited because I've been very critical to the ADAS in this car. I'm going to go out and say this like in the middle of the video. For me, this is the deal breaker. I would not buy the Polestar 4 with this software. Again, I'm not allowed to drive this car, but I think I can gauge a lot of the systems, but just observing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we are excited too. So let's go. We're now on the, I was going to say Autobahn, but we're not in Germany, we're in Sweden. Yes. Motorvägen around Gothenburg. We've been driving. Johannes here has been showing me some functions. I've been digging and just grilling these guys for questions because I really want to get down to the nitty-gritty. And there are improvements, which is really, really nice. So, Johannes, you want to talk about like the first improvement you showed me with the ADAS system now, which you can switch in between pilot assist, which is the auto steer functionality, and also adaptive cruise control, right?
Yeah, exactly. So one also thing that you remarked on in one of your videos was that it's not possible to switch between pilot assist and ACC.
Yeah.
So in the upcoming version, that is now possible. So when you're in pilot assist, and if you double click, you will get into ACC.
Okay.
And you will get a message that it will say that pilot assist has been deactivated, and you are taking over with the steering, but you still have the longitudinal control in ACC. And then you can, of course, return back to pilot assist by clicking one time.
Also, when you're switching now in between ACC or especially when you're switching from pilot assist to ACC, you get that really annoying warning chime.
Yeah.
Is that also going to be left out, that chime, of the next OTA?
Unfortunately, not in the next OTA, but in the upcoming OTAs, this is something that we will remove.
Okay, so I'm not the only one who thinks all of these bings and bongs are annoying. You guys also who actually work on the car and make these. This car is built on the SEA1 platform, which is a Geely group platform. I think we first saw the Zeekr 001 on this platform, right? So this platform, the car here is not related to the Polestar 2 or the Polestar 3 at all. And that means, you know, completely new logic with both the hardware and the software, and bringing a product that maybe, or a platform that wasn't initially designed for Europe into more of the Polestar way, right? And this is maybe what we're seeing now is that, okay, the Polestar, the platform was very good from the beginning, but we want to do this more, you know, to make it closer to the Polestar 2 or the Polestar 3 or the just your brand identity, right?
Yeah, exactly. This is exactly what we're doing, and what we are also, we have the OTAS, which is a great opportunity for us to further improve both the functions we have today, but also being able to also increase the functionality, get new functions.
So we were talking a little bit off camera segmentation between the 4 and the 3, right? Where the 3 is a more upmarket, more expensive, more luxurious product, which is reflected in the price and how expensive it can be.
Position it correct.
Position it, right? And I've talked about this several times on camera, despite all of the flaws and issues I've expressed with the ADAS, with the Polestar 4. It's a great, like the underlying product is amazing, and I think it's a very good product at that price point. Like if I were to buy like that product, even spending more money would be a hard decision for me because it's such a good product. And there's a clear difference. Like I think in Norway, like spec for spec, it's like 200 or 250,000 kroners, right? Which is a significant difference.
It's a segment higher. It's more luxurious.
Exactly.
While the Polestar 4 is more accessible for bigger number of people.
And of course, there has to be a gap there, right? For the product to be where it's displaced. But my question is, will you, if the Polestar 4 is successful, are you open to make changes? Can you, like many cars today, like the brand new Audi Q6 e-tron, first revealed as SUV and then as coupe SUV, right?
Right.
You did the coupe SUV first. Can you go the other way and then come with the SUV later? Is that possible? Or would that eat possibly too much into the Polestar 3's market? Or is this something you have been considering?
I think we always consider what can we leverage on the architectures. You know, the CMA architecture, it did the EC40, EX40, the Polestar 2. We're having the SPA 2 architecture with the EX90 and the Polestar 3. And of course, we're exploring what can we do with the CEA1 architecture as well as on coming cars. So every time we start a new program, we will see, would it be wise to start on the SPA 2, on the CA, or on another architecture to build on. So we, in the plan ahead, we are checking for different alternatives, and there are proposals and pros and cons with the different architectures around us.
Because I think a little higher price, or maybe even lower price, because the coupes are often a little bit more expensive. But same price SUV style Polestar 4, I think would be very, very popular. And maybe, is there a smaller battery pack for the SEA1 platform also that possibly could lower the price point?
There is one, but that battery pack is, we have not selected it to take it in for Europe right now. So it's available on China market only.
So there is already a smaller battery pack for China.
Correct.
Interesting.
Correct.
Can I ask, like, do you know the size of it?
86 kilowatt hour.
Is that the gross or the usable capacity? Do you know?
It's the certified capacity. So it's 86 correspond to 100.
Now, hold on a second. I'm sitting here with the project manager of the Polestar 4, the guy who's responsible for the actual product. And I'm asking a quite simple question about the usable battery capacity in the smallest battery pack version available in this product. Granted, this version isn't available in Europe, but shouldn't he know this? Isn't this a simple question? At the time of filming, it was getting late. Ola was about to go in 5 minutes, so I didn't think much about the answer. But now editing this video, I find this curious. Let me know what you guys make of this down below. And also, there's a lot more footage and questions and deep talk about the Polestar 4 and how it became the Polestar 4. And I also asked them about a wagon version. So if you want to see that, let me know in the comment section down below. I'll drop a part 2 because in this video, I for the most part wanted to talk about the ADAS functionality and its improvement. So let me know down below. Also give this video a thumbs up. And also guys, if you aren't subscribed, hit that subscribe button down below. Thank you very much. Now let's continue this interview. Yeah, so it's gross capacity.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So other improvements that we also have included in the upcoming OTA is to improve or actually reduce the LK interventions in the scenario where the driver is actively steering on a country road. The driver in this type of car, you don't want the system to interact when it should not, because you are actively steering, you are having fun in the curves, and then you don't want to have a lane keeping aid to push you back to the center of the lane because you want to cut it. And that is one thing that we have improved to reduce unwanted lane keeping interventions.
But let me ask you, because you have two different systems possibly, I don't know with this car, but with the Polestar 3 I drove here and I'm driving back, you have lane keeping aid and then you have lane departure, which is a different system. So even when you turn off lane keeping aid, lane departure is still active. But in this car, I didn't experience any lane departure tugging on me when lane keep assist was off.
So that would trigger based on road edges.
Well, in my experience with the Polestar 3, I know we're talking about that.
Yeah.
These lines here, it would tug me, just the middle lines there.
Yeah.
But in this car, you're allowing more active play when lane keeping aid is on, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's correct. Yeah.
And I think that's a nice thing because I mean, many of these systems are mandated by the EU, right?
Yes, that's correct.
And it's like you just are just given the law book and you're like, just make it work, right?
Yeah.
And then you have the customers, you have people like me criticizing you,
yeah.
and then you're kind of like in the middle because you don't want it, the customer doesn't want it, and or maybe you want it, but you want it to work in a different way.
Yeah.
And I think this is a nice way because, yes, in a perfect world, you don't turn off any of these systems, but I think we're not there right yet. So tuning them to be able to, especially here in Scandinavia, where maybe the road surfacing is wet, the cameras are dirty, maybe you have a little bit of snow. Like in winter, it's really hard to have any of these systems on because it just intervenes with the driving. But you're going to allow more driver input. Yeah,
of course. Yeah, that's a very good point. And it's the regulations is something we really need to take in consideration. And especially now with the new GSR2 regulation that came in the last years, with both driver monitoring and lane keeping aid and emergency braking functions that need to be active, and overspeeding functions that need to also be active in every power cycle of the car. And it's the one thing we have to respect. We cannot not implement the legal requirements. We have to follow that. But
I think everybody understands that.
Yeah, but it would maybe also be an interesting if you would also ask the authorities that have designed the legal requirements, like their view of it, and if that would be good from if the customer sees a different view compared to from what the
legislators are. Exactly. No, I mean, this is like just the way of the world, right? It's always been like this. It's always going to be, but because we have things are so much more advanced now, it also takes more time to figure out. But I think like your philosophy is very good. Another issue or complaint I had with the ADAS systems here was a delay between activating, for example, the pilot assist, going off the throttle, and the system engaging. And there's a very logical reason for that. You want to just explain a little bit more and how you're working to mitigate this?
Yeah, so I mean, we are building cars on different platforms, and that is important to understand. And different platforms have different goals in terms in the development. And the solution when it comes to activation and the activation of the functionality is very sophisticated in the Polestar 4 platform that we are using in order to, in the future, enable even more autonomous functions in the car, to be on a very safe side, to make sure that every component are communicating with each other and that there are no faults in the chain. And a setback of that design is that it's leading to a slightly longer activation time. And we are actively working on improving the design in the platform to have a faster activation time. And also the interaction between activating and deactivating pilot assist together with one pedal drive. That's something we actively work on to improve in upcoming OTAs. But some of these changes are lower level in the platform, and therefore they will take longer time to realize.
So you said something very important there that I think many of my viewers understand, but there may be viewers that don't understand. Like, all of your cars are built on different platforms, and this platform comes with other, like, electronics, hardware, right, that are come with, you can say, just to simplify it, bundle with this platform. And then you have the ADAS platform that is connected to this overall platform, which was, developed for the Chinese market, where they have very different goals for autonomous driving, which require ADAS systems that are more authoritative, much more safety checks. And that's what you're battling with here, because in Europe we drive in a completely different manner. We want the ADAS to help the driver, not the other way around, right? That is maybe what we're seeing here, a little bit of a conflict. And so, for example, what's happening when you go off the throttle and you hit that button there is that all these systems have to communicate, and then there are all of these safety checks that are there for good reason, but maybe for this platform they're not needed, right? Then you're working constantly very hard to mitigate that and to reduce that response time, right? And maybe move some of those safety checks all together, right? But it's not just very simple. These are complicated electronics, right?
It comes down to the software architecture and component architecture in the car, and therefore it takes time to make these changes and change the logic, move some of the logic that is in one component to another component instead. And maybe also changing interfaces in the platform, because if you want to move something and instead of communicating with one signal in the past, maybe you need 3 signals, and then you need to add those signals to the architecture. And automotive in general, it's long lead times in development for good reasons, to make sure that cars are safe and that they are well tested, and therefore it's more low-level changes takes time. And also on a platform, it takes time to get everyone on the same page and agree to make all the changes.
No, I mean, you have a team of engineers, right? So if, let's say I was an engineer, we were talking and I was like, Johannes, I think we should change this. Like, before any changes can happen, we have to agree and on common ground, right? So this is just the way, I mean, because cars are so modern now, because our global economy is so global, these are the downsides of this. But in general, I think all systems are better, and all these systems may not work perfectly, but because of OTAs, you're going to be able to update them, and you're working hard, like you're like already on the next one, right? So
exactly. I mean, we working always. I think you could think of it that we are always 2 steps ahead in the development. So what we are working on now in our daily work is what maybe will be the next OTA.
And the reason you guys can't have that is because this has to be tested and retested
Yes.
for safety concerns to see that there aren't any bugs. Maybe something was overseen, or maybe because you changed something, something else changed. I mean, these are so complex systems, and before you can release these to the public, you have to be 110% sure that they're not going they're going to work and not going to cause any harm. Right?
Exactly, and it's also. Depending on what type of change, it might drive new vehicle type approval from the software side, or even a new complete. Sometimes it's enough to update the documentation, but sometimes it requires a recertification, and that's why we also have model year updates. So there are some of the changes that we really would like to do right now, but we cannot do it until we do. You can only make the change in the model year updates.
Skål.
Skål.
It's skål in Swedish also, right?
Yes.
Cheers.
That's correct. Cheers.
It's coffee, guys. It's coffee. It's a Friday, but we just had lunch in your restaurant.
Yeah.
The food is so good. It's the second time I've been here.
Yeah.
Is it like this every day?
It's like this every day. Yeah.
Oh, no wonder you make beautiful cars, then, right?
and the HQ, like the lounge here, it's open for everyone to come and look on the cars, right? And
so this is open to the public. You can
in here you can go to the public. Here is no key required to come in here.
And this is so Scandinavian, you know. If you guys aren't from Scandinavia, in Scandinavia we have, I mean, people think we're very cold, like towards strangers, and we may be our cultures, but the corporate culture is so open.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like no hierarchy. I mean, we just had lunch with the corporate chief for Polestar 4. What was his
name? Or the program lead for Polestar 4.
The program lead, the guy who's even higher up than Ola.
Yeah, Ola is responsible for the product itself. And he's responsible for the program. So within the program, you have the execution of the project. Okay. You have the product you want to deliver. You have also the commercial side to it.
Exactly. So, like in Scandinavia, that's normal. Like you could have the CEO eating lunch with whoever at any level, of course. Right?
Yeah.
And this, I think, my point was this represents it because it's so open here. It looks like you can walk into the offices, but there is security here. You can't just.
There is security.
There is security, so guys. But okay, this has been a great day. Thank you so much for you guys inviting me here and being so open to speak on camera.
Yeah.
I mentioned it so many times to several of your colleagues that many of the other companies out there, I'm not going to name any names, but would just try to sweep things under the rug. But instead of that, you invite me here, exposing yourself, but I think at the same time you show people that you are constantly working on improving the product.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what we can see today in our drive, we drove for 1.5 hours, something like that, with the next OTA that will go to customers from ADAS perspective. And I think some of the challenges that we have seen in the past, when in your reviews, I think we've seen. Especially when it comes to the control part of the vehicle, when it's about where we are in lane or control to overtaking trucks. We didn't see any issues like that during our drive. It was a very good drive, I would say, in that sense.
Yeah. There was nothing, especially, of course, I didn't get to drive the car and I could feel, still some of that delay. And we've talked about why that's there, but your guys, it's not nearly as worse as it was. Yeah. And we also talked about, like I had a complaint about, when you activate the pilot assist or adaptive cruise, and then you immediately try to increase the speed, right? Yeah. That's delayed. Even that was reduced. But you guys also talked about, but people who own these cars, you get used to them. And I totally buy that. Like, I am in a unique position where I every week change cars, right? But after a while, you do get used to it. Like, for example, the backup camera and the mirror camera. Yeah. Half a day, got used to it. Never been an issue for me. Like in the beginning, I was looking over my shoulder. Yeah. I'm like, oh, there's no window there. And then you just stop doing that. And then it's completely fine. So I think many of these driver assistance systems, you have improved it, still not perfect, but that is absolutely something I buy, that you get used to it, right? Yeah,
and we are continuously working to improve it. We are wanting to improve. We see that we have taken a lot of improvements, but we're not done yet. We will continue for many OTAs to come. So some patience with some improvements that will take some longer time, because it's in the lower level of the architecture that will take time to change.
So you mean lower? That's like it's deeper within the system, right?
And then it takes time to make a change. And some changes are higher up, where you can go to a specific component in the car, and when they can make a change in isolation, then you can do it much faster.
Exactly.
And but we are committed to improve and to continue working on getting a better ADAS system, and also on the Polestar 4 launching more ADAS features in the future.
That's great. Why are there more issues and challenges with the ADAS in the Polestar 4 versus the Polestar 3 and even the Polestar 2 when that car was launched more than 4 years ago? And why would Polestar launch a car that, in my opinion, isn't finished? I don't think we will ever get a definitive answer, but in my opinion, it is mainly because the Polestar 4 is built on the SEA1 platform, which was developed for the Chinese market. And because that market is very different compared to ours when it comes to ADAS, not enough time was spent adopting these systems for European roads and drivers. Where the Chinese want more authoritative systems, we in the West want a system that complements the driver and not one that interferes too much. Should Polestar have waited another few months or maybe half a year before delivering cars? Yes, I think they should have. But again, I don't have the full picture here. Maybe former CEO Thomas Ingelot was fired because he cared too much about design instead of functionality. After all, he was a car designer before he was appointed CEO. And we've seen how car designers have run several car companies to the ground in the past decade. But what I do know is that there are some very skilled, driven, and passionate people working at Polestar to make sure their product becomes better and better.